So I just uploaded my tutorial on grief. Grief is an interesting one in the clinic because not a lot of people come specifically for grief. You know, I do get the occasional one, and there are also clients that come in that know that grief is underlying what challenges they're having. But I'd say 80%, I'm telling you, 80% of the male clients I have coming in for anxiety or wanting to lose weight or just drinking, even smoking and addiction, there is underlying grief there, and it always comes up. It's funny when you work in the kind of work that we do, that if you let someone just open up and talk at the start of the session, just about random everyday stuff, how whatever is underlying it tends to come into the clinic. And like I said, oh my God, unresolved grief just shows up. And like I said, in men more so than women. I think in my last maybe 10 sessions I've had in the last few weeks, I'd say 8 of those, so that's why I always say around 80%, 8 of those we've worked with some kind of unresolved grief. It's worse when people or someone lost someone without getting to say goodbye. So it might be even when you're young, when you lose a grandparent or a sister or brother or, husband, whoever it is, when you don't actually get to say goodbye to them, it's quite a shock. Maybe an accident or some reason it tends to even sit harsher in the brain. The way the brain processes that, it's kind of a trauma that gets left unresolved. So like I said in the little tutorial that I put up today, one of the techniques that we do with grief is we actually take the person back to the last time they were with them alive. We make sure, of course, the presentation is a good presentation, and we get them to actually say goodbye and let them know that they're okay. And by doing that, we know that when someone is imagining and feeling something, which, hypnosis is, when your internal world or your imagination becomes more real than what's going on around you, then the brain sees it as real. So actually being able to say goodbye and say what needs to be said can kind of close off that trauma cycle and help people to start healing. Crazy things have happened in sessions, like, addictions have gone instantly, whatever was people were struggling with seems to really calm down when we resolve that grief or do what we need to do. It's a beautiful process. And like I said, a lot of the time people don't come into the clinic knowing that's what's underneath. It just tends to come out in the session, and we deal with whatever we need to deal with to get to work with the issue that's coming in. So that's something, if you're struggling with grief, that you can even do yourself if you haven't done it before. Using imagination, you can actually talk to the loved one or try and feel that connection again, because most of the time when we think about them, we feel grief and sadness, maybe anger or whatever other feelings are coming up. So when we change that kind of nervous system response to feeling connected or feeling a loving feeling, it can change the way your body walks in the world today, if that makes sense. One of the things we do when we do our goodbyes is we bring the energy of the person back into the room with a loving, supportive feeling, with the suggestion that anytime you think of that person from now on, what you feel now is feeling connection and feeling loved and feeling supportive. So we're kind of changing the brain's response to whenever they think about that person. It's a beautiful experience. And like I said, geez, grief underlines so much stuff we see in the clinic. It's even when I'm teaching my students, it's such a huge part of what we do, because it's just the nervous system. It can be such a shock, and it can just sit there in the background. And when the nervous system gets overwhelmed, of course, we present in either pain, weight, or mental illness. Pain can be migraines or fibro or chronic back pain with no cause. Weight gain without changing your diet. You can start to put weight on and feel lethargic and low motivation. And of course, mental illness can be addictions. It can be anxious and all of those things. When we get so overwhelmed with life, these are the presentations that happen. But underlying that could be just grief, and other things. So if you resonate with this, or if this is something that you think could support you, reach out and have a chat with me and we can do stuff about it. Anyway, have a good week. Christmas is coming up.